Collective, this message isn't for everybody, okay? And y'all know my disclaimer is in the description if y'all want to read more about the content of my channel, okay? But if you clicked on this message, it's because you were born into a family of false light evildoers, okay? And it was to stop your soul's mission here on earth, okay? And you like, this ain't gonna be for everybody, but the ones it's for, you feel me, you're gonna understand me, right? Because it's just crazy. Like, it's like from the very beginning, you never had a fresh or fair start. You were met with a lot of opposition from early on. You know, your light shined so bright that the family you were born in, they hated to see that, you know, and they did everything in their power to dim your light, to bury you, to cover you up, to shut you up, to silence you, you know, and for so long you couldn't understand why. You know what I'm saying? You questioned yourself so much. You felt so worthless and felt like nothing because this is how your family treated you. You know, you didn't have emotional support. You didn't have the freedom to express yourself. You were someone who was very, your emotions were suppressed very early on. And you were treated like a scapegoat. And you were just pretty much treated like trash, leftovers, you know, like a stepchild in your own family. Collective. This is you. And you, even despite all of that disrespect that you faced, even all the betrayals, you still had an open heart. You still were trying to be understanding of these people. You still tried to mend and heal relationships that you didn't even break. You weren't the cause of this. And you found yourself overgiving and overpouring into these people because they're your family. This was the family you were born into, so you want to make it work. You know what I'm saying? But over time, and even as you got older, you started to notice different signs. Like every time that you were in a good spot in your life, here comes the sabotage, here comes the betrayal, here comes the hate, here comes the lack of support, right? And so you started to recognize the pattern, like, wait a minute, these I know these people are my family. I know this is what I was born into, but no, they're acting the complete opposite. They're acting like enemies of the state. They're not your family. This is what you realize, collective. And so you started to make different moves. You started to distance yourself from these people because you realized the longer that you stayed around them, the more they're just going to play in your face. The more they're going to, you know, throw dirt on your name and discourage you. You know what I'm saying? Like, some of y'all had major milestones and accomplishments in your life that you wanted to share and celebrate with your so-called loved ones, right? And you know, you would see they would not show up to your events. They wouldn't support what it is that you were pursuing. You know, they did not care. A lot of these people, when you were at your best moments or when you were experiencing things to celebrate, they went quiet, they went mute. But then when they felt like you were struggling in a season of pain or a season of scarcity, that's when they want to show up. That's when they start getting more interested in your life. That's when they're trying. It's just like, it was just so weird. It's weird energy, collective. And it's just like, whoa, you had to really cut a lot of these people off because it was just getting that weird. You know, like, why? You just literally could not understand. Like, you could not catch a break. You know what I'm saying? And maybe you even had family team up against you. You know what I'm saying? And leave you out of stuff. You know, and really not support you and see you how you needed to be seen, right? So, collective, you moved away from all of that. You was like, hold up. I'm good. Like, I don't need y'all. You realized that they needed you more than you needed them, right, collective? Because you look back and realize you were the light this whole time. You were the one pouring into them. You were the one giving them advice. You were the one encouraging them. You were the one who carried them while they were down, right? Everything that you wanted from them, you did to them. And in return, you got nothing. In return, you got played to the left. In return, you got treated like trash. Like some of your family just deliberately made it difficult for you on purpose on multiple occasions. Even plotted against you behind your back. They always knew. They always seen something in you. They seen the greatness in you from a very early age, right? They knew you were different, very different than your other family members, right? But they couldn't handle that truth. They were unhealed. So their unhealed wounds was triggered by your light, triggered by your authenticity, triggered by your pure energy. And this is so sad because a lot of people go through this with their family. And some people continue to fall victim because they're not aware that this is the type of people their family are. They might have an inkling, they might have a feeling, but they can't pinpoint where it's coming from. But the answer is a lot closer than you think, And, if once you realize that you gotta disconnect from this toxic behavior and toxic family, that's when your life gets more easier. That's when your life gets more peaceful, right? You realize, like, once you removed yourself and distanced yourself, at first, it might have felt a little lonely. At first, they might have, been trying to get back in and become obsessed with, like, why aren't you talking to me? Why aren't you doing this? Like, some of your family went out the way to, like, make you the villain because you cut them off, because you stopped dealing with them, because you got tired of dealing with their toxic ways. But then they'll spin it on you and everybody else and say, well, I don't know what's wrong with Collective. Collective just cut me off and they're just so shady. And I don't understand because I'm their parent or I'm their mom or dad and we're family. And how could you do this to family? Literally, a whole sob story, a whole sad show. But this is how they'll spin a narrative on you to other people, right? Some of these people try to play in your face, play on your heartstrings to get back in your good graces, literally. But you realize, okay, when you let them back in, here comes the shade again. Here comes the subtle hate. Here comes the little snoot comments. You know what I'm saying? So they just kept playing in your face, right? And the reason why is because you were different. You were born here to do something else. You were definitely not like your family. If you're not like your family, it's because you were never supposed to be in that family to begin with. I don't know what happened during birth, but clearly this was not the family. This is not your family, Collective. There's no way. There's no way it could be. Like, how is this your family when they did everything in their power to stop your shine, when they did everything in your power to dim your light, when they did everything in your power to break your spirit? That is not family at all. Like, it is not. So you're the type of person, Collective, you don't care about that blood is thicker than water biology. No. Because the way that your so-called family treated you all your life compared to how they treated other family members, or compared to how you see other families are being brought up and raised and treated, oh no. These people were sent straight from HE double hockey sticks, okay? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? But I commend you for taking that step and removing yourself. I commend you for taking that step and detaching from those people, right? I commend you for even being brave enough to say, hey, I don't want this. I don't care that y'all are biologically. No, I'm still removing. Because, there's a lot of people who will sit and tolerate and just deal with it because, oh, that's what they're told, because, oh, that's family. Like, or they want you to go along to get along because that's family. No. Like, you don't tolerate the disrespect no more, Collective, because you're not disrespectful to yourself. You know your worth, and you're not going to allow anybody else to treat you less than what you know you're worth and what you know you deserve, right? Especially when you still have a good ass heart after all you've been through? After all those times people tried to hurt you, you still have a good heart, collective? So you switched it up on them. You stopped pouring into them because they never cared for you, right? And some of your family do feel salty. Some of your family are probably still obsessed and pressed trying to get around you or get back into your good graces, you know, or want to get in contact with you. But it's you're a dollar late and a day short because listen, it's like, collective, you went your whole life trying to beg and fight for a spot in your family. You know what I'm saying? You did the most trying to feel accepted. You overgave, you overloved, you overgifted. You extended yourself to the max. And what happened? Nothing. You weren't accepted, you weren't loved, you weren't appreciated more. No, if anything, they disrespected you more. If anything, they took advantage of you more. If anything, they played in your face more. So you cut the cord. And now there's no connection. And look how your life is thriving. Look at your spirit, you know what I'm saying, versus them, right? So I know you don't have any regrets for letting them go or creating these boundaries to where you don't have to deal with them, you know what I'm saying, on a regular basis. I commend you for that, collective, because again, I'm telling you, they were here to stop your mission, but a lot of y'all were able to successfully detach and get from around them. You woke up and realized, whoa, whoa, whoa. And now your life is on go, go, go. Okay. Who am I talking to, collective? I know I just can't be the only one out here. Okay. Y'all ain't gonna make me out to be the crazy man, all right? I need y'all to drop in them comments, all right? Listen, if this is your first time here and you enjoy my channel, please make sure you subscribe. I would definitely love to have you a part of our tribe because it's a vibe over here. Thank y'all so much for continuing to support my channel. I love y'all. It's Karkar. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.